Actually, I'm getting out of that class until 4:05. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Gotta mix it. Makes it a little different. Where on yours?
I'm good.
It worked. It should be. It was all right.
No more problem.
Just leave 10 minutes early.
Oh no. It did happen recently.
Try restarting the computer.
Really? You said I forgot. I totally forgot about that. Someone changed something and didn't put it back the way it was. And my phone is broken. And I call broke on the way to work.
Where's the IT guy? Hey,
What?
could you come here, please?
What?
Because we have to have the telephone run through here.
It's in my
Yeah.
phone.
Oh, can you turn it on?
What is the health security, the text phone? 4800, that's it. 54800. Just dial it for me and I'll get them. They'll be down there quickly.
Oh, gosh,
Oh, boy, that sucks.
Now I press 1. Oh wait, keyboard, back to the... I don't know why.
Oh, there.
No. Oh, wait.
Why are you late?
How much is buying it?
Okay, now where'd he go?
Oh, did you get it?
Got it.
Yeah, sort of, but it's on his name though.
Well, it doesn't matter as long as I get online.
Now logging off.
They'll be, I guess they'll just come down here.
No, Pat, come here.
Watch his head.
And then the IT guys are gonna be pissed.
Well, that's what I figured was which domains that changed. Oh, so you just typed in capital PPCC up here slash.
Alright, well that's, I thought we had a different domain. So someone actually changed the domain for some reason.
Yeah, it was on my INST for some
Why?
reason.
They didn't put it back.
Right.
I got it. So
So
next
that's like
time.
5 points on my quiz.
Nope, it didn't work.
Did you put
It didn't work. Well, they're on their way, so.
I'm doing plugs.
As long as you can get into the internet and sit right back.
Let's see who's here. Today is the 8th. Jesse. Here. Yeah, everybody's sitting in different places, so make sure that that you say here when I call your name. Crystal. Karen. Sarah. Roberto. Monica.
here?
Madison.
Here.
David. Daniel.
Here.
Okay.
Lindsay. Blake.
Yeah, I'll be able to get it.
Trenton.
Here.
Maria.
Right here.
Michelle.
Here.
Catherine. Desiree. Not here? Olga. I know I saw you.
Here.
Okay. Sixtus here. Sean. Caitlin.
Here.
Joseph. Pete. Guess I don't want to get any points. Brandon.
Yeah.
Johnny.
Cool.
Anyone's name that was not called.
Okay, that's gonna be awkward. I'm gonna be recording his video as long as I'm recording mine.
I asked that last time. I have someone on here. I have someone who,
This is the third week in a row you've said that.
I know, but she came and I added her in the first week, and I guess she's not coming back.
This will get her off.
Christian, I wrote really sloppy that day, and I can't read it.
Your lid's not open all the way.
Christian?
Yes.
Well, that's my middle name. That's what I go by.
Oh, well, no.
Okay.
That's not you. I can't read the last name either. Yeah, it was. I think so. What happened? Did we get in?
Yeah,
He did.
it's under my
What did
domain.
you do? Okay.
Who's teaching who here?
I pretend I didn't hear that. I get the grades.
Touche.
Okay, today's third.
I know all about changing domains and stuff. I just didn't know what our domain was.
Okay.
I thought it was PPCC, something else.
Right.
That's all.
First one.
And you guys will be at Sunday.
Okay, you ready? We have plenty enough time, don't worry.
Are you zooming?
Is there a problem?
Are you zooming?
Can I zoom in?
Yeah, please.
Or will I zoom in?
Wow.
Too much.
That's a little too far.
Alright, we might have to toggle back and forth between us. I mean, is it that bad? Was it that bad?
No.
That's,
No, not now.
Oh, yeah, no.
It's the angle.
Not for me,
I guess
So
we-
you're right in the middle.
but I get.
It's this angle.
Okay, so let me just reiterate what I
see
said
shit.
last week. And I don't have to dwell on those things at all, but now whenever I stop, it's a fairly large group. It's an average sized group, you know, but it's still 20-something students. And when I have to stop or when I need to stop to answer someone's question, please don't break off in side conversations. Because then that just fills the room with noise, it creates chaos. Remember, we talked about that. So I don't want to have to go there, you know what I'm saying? I don't
Hey.
want to point somebody or something.
get his attention.
So,
You mind setting this up over there?
but by all means, I want you to be laid back. All right.
Here.
So, here's the first problem. Let me scroll up for 1 second, and you see, I know that. Let's see, it says what 12. This is 1 of 12. Okay, I'm going to show you some clues here as I go through it. You should recognize, first of all, if you look down the explanation first, They don't give you the formula, but do you recognize it? This is the formula for what? Principal times rate time. It's the interest formula. So in the explanation, they might not give you, the actual letters. They just start off right here. Does that make sense? When you're writing a problem, you might write the formula, interest, I equals. Well, you'll see in some of these problems. Huh? Yeah, that's not for this problem. Not for this one. Whenever you're solving for principal, rate, or time, interest is on top. Okay, so keep that in mind as we're going through the whole course. We're already 25% through with the course, by the way, as of this week, as of today. We're more than 25%.
So you get principal times the rate, right?
Principal times rate times time. So in the next several problems we go through, you're going to notice in explanations it's set up just like this. It starts off like this. Okay? Unless they don't ask for interest. If they just ask you for principal or just time. But you get the point. They don't have the formula written here for you. Now here they do have it written. You see in part B for the second answer? Maturity value equals principal plus interest. So who remembers? If they ask you for maturity value, what do you have to find first?
Principal and interest.
If they ask you for maturity value in the problem, you always have to find what first? The interest. Okay? All right, look at the problem. Leslie, look at the key word there. Remember from last time? Borrow. What does that mean? Principal. There's your P. So 15,600 equals principal. To pay for her child's education at Riverside Community College, now she must repay this loan at the end of 15 months. There's your key word, month. That is a unit of time, right? Or measure of time.
Were you able to log in okay?
Yes, I did. I don't know if,
I fixed it, Moose.
I got a student, you change the domain, right? Okay, so the instructor's domain is PPCC.
Correct.
So I don't know why, what aggravates me is when somebody comes in here and they change the domain, but they don't change it back, And this happened to me 2 weeks ago. I don't know if it was you that came down or someone else, but I didn't know the domain because I never have to change it,
Whenever you see it, just click on PPCC backslash.
In all caps, right?
It doesn't matter.
Backslash or slash? Backslash. Okay. All right. Sorry to bug you.
Thanks, boss.
Okay. So months is your key word. That's time. So down here in the example, you can see we plug in. There's where T is, right? P times R times T. So we're going to put 15 over 12 because that's why do we use 12? Because it's in terms of months. What if that said 1 year?
Just put one.
Just put 1. What if it said 3 years?
3.
Just put 3. You got
What
it.
is months?
What if it was in terms of days?
Turn into months.
7.
Well, you could. Depends. And I'm not going to go there right now.
7 because there's 7
But-
days in a week.
You would put it in terms of days at the bottom, okay? Which would be 365. Okay, in one
Sorry.
payment with 3.5% interest. Now notice there's a fraction here in your interest rate. Why do we know this is R, the rate? Because of the percent sign. You notice 3.5 there? Okay, how do we get that from that fraction?
Move the decimal.
But you have to turn 1/2 into a decimal first, right? And what is that?
3.5.
Okay, 3.5, 3.5%, 3.5, and then move the decimal 2 places to the left. So now it's easy, it's all set up, you just calculate it, there's your interest. Now we also want the maturity value. Again, definition is what? Total amount repaid, includes the principal and the interest. So you can add the principal and the interest together. The principal, of course, is 15,600. And the interest we got in part A, we'll just bring it down, add them together, and there it is. So this is the format for the rest of the problems, basically. Any questions? Another one? Very simple. Now, what are we looking for this time? Not the interest, just the time. Now, if you look down the explanation, usually what I do is I even point to this first, but now this is kind of new to you, this thing, this whole format. So again, you'll see that the formula is not here. How do we find time? What do we do with the interest formula to solve for time?
The interest of
Principal rate.
So there's your interest formula. What you want to do, and if you were here last time, you got the notes, right? We want to solve for time. So we're going to divide both sides by principal and rate. Okay. And this is what you get. So once you've done that, now it's just a matter of plugging in the numbers and calculating. So we have Gordon. He goes to his bank to find out how long it will take. There's an extra step here. Pay close attention. It is not shown down here. Make a mental or a written note. How long it will take for 2,400 to amount to 2,970. Okay, we didn't have one like this on Wednesday and in the first part of the lecture. Remember, the first thing you have to do here is subtract 2,400 from 2,970. I'll say it again, and I can say it backwards either way. 2,970 minus 2,400. Why are you doing that? Because that's how you get the interest. Did everybody get that? Because if you didn't, you're going to get stuck right there. In other words, they don't tell you what the amount of the interest is in the problem. This guy wants to know if he invests his money, how long is it going to take him if he earns 8.05% to grow to this amount? So that's the interest he's earning, do you see? He's investing. This is not a borrowing problem, it's investing. We're either loaning or investing, or borrowing or investing. So he's investing this much. And at the end of the term or time, which is 3 years as you can see, he's going to have this much. This is what he's earning, his interest rate. So once we've calculated the interest amount, we plug it in for I, right here. There's I. And then 8.05 is the rate. See the percent sign? Okay, 0.085. And they did it a different way right here, but I'm just telling you, okay? You can just plug that in. And then what is the principal? I mean, they show it a different way. It's like, it's not, what am I trying to say? It's not
It's
horizontal,
not,
it's
yeah, it's
vertical.
not,
Yes. Anyway, there's the principal, 2,400. Plug it in for P. Now it's simple. Once you calculate it, you get 3 years exactly. Do you understand how this problem works? Are you ready for another one? Okay, so right here, there's one more thing that we have to do. Remember we talked about this last time? There's more than one way to do this. You have to find out how many days are in the period for the whole loan. In other words, from the day you borrow the money to the day it is paid off, or it's supposed to be paid off, the term of the loan. Sometimes it's less than a year. Sometimes it's like 1.3 years or something. So it depends upon what it says in the problem. I'll get to that in just a minute. Let's take a look at the start here. April 25th is when she's taking the money out. This is the date of the loan. Notice the year is there also. And why is the year there? Because she's going to pay it back when? March 28th of the following year. She has to have it paid back by then. So we have to find how many days in between those 2 days. Exactly how many days. If you're off 1 day, it's not going to take your answer. And you'll be sitting there, getting a headache, trying it over and over, thinking you're right. So make sure you understand how to do this. Let's fill in the other pieces first, and I'll come back to how to use the table to figure out the days of the loan. And I could also put it on the board, which I used to do in the past. I always said that the longer way was easier. The more I look at the table might be easier. Okay, so I'm going to show you that, and if you find that that's sufficient, then we'll leave it there. Notice this link. You'll see these in some of your problems. You see it's in blue? I'll open that up in a minute, and it's going to show you how to calculate, how to do this. It's very simple. So anyway, 7.5%, that is the what? Rate, which is which letter? R. Okay, so we come down and you recognize the formula. It's the interest formula. There's your 7.5%, R. 23,000 is the what? The principal, the amount that's borrowed. Okay, now all we have to do is find the number of days. Now notice it says ordinary interest. They didn't show you in parentheses, it's in red. Use 360 days for the bottom part of your time. Do you remember our discussion about ordinary and exact interest? And I told you most of your problems are going to be what?
Ordinary.
Ordinary. Okay. So automatically when you see this, when it says ordinary interest, or it even says it right here, you're going to use 360 at the bottom for T, time. Now the 337, that's what we have to calculate. Take a look at this here, okay? Now, you'll have to, you should be writing this down maybe, and then what I'm going to do is go from the table back and forth to the example. You know, I don't know if I can put both of them up there at once. We'll see. We start off with 365. Now it says minus 115 for the date of April 25th. Now what day is that? April 25th is the day she borrowed.
So you
The
count
loan started.
from the beginning of the year to April 25th, how many days?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Now let me open up the table.
Okay.
Well, it's kind of confusing because
It's a minus.
you divide it by 360 because it's ordinary interest, but
Yes.
yet when you calculate it.
I totally get that. I'm not even going to go there. I didn't even notice that.
So it's not 360, it's 365.
Whenever you're calculating the days, just do it the way it is here.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
you'll get the problem. Okay? Let me show you the table.
Is that using the table?
Yes. Okay, so there's the table. You see how it opens up into a new window? Now, just give me a second.
I don't know how they.
April 25th. Please don't break off in the conversations. April 25th. Okay, so we come down to the first column. You follow me here. And we go down to 25. Here's 25. Now we're going to follow it over to the right until we get to what column?
April.
Here's your answer. Do you see it? I'm circling it. This is the column for April. You can't see it up at the top. But this is April. So all you're doing is find the number of days, or the date, excuse me, and then follow it over to the right until you get to the month. Bam. So 365 minus 115. You see how that works?
Well, you got the 19, I thought it was the 21st. I didn't get that one.
25th.
What's that?
I thought it was the 25th, you got the 19.
Where do you get 19 from?
Well, you,
No, I didn't.
in the column, in the table guide, you put 19.
You had it shaded, or what do you?
111.
It was correct?
Yes, it's correct.
The 19.
Oh, no, I don't know why they have that shaded, just.
Oh, that wasn't you?
No, it wasn't
He
me.
went
That's what
down.
I was looking at.
I see what you're saying,
What
okay.
I was looking at was 28. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Ignore the shadings.
I'm sorry.
Do they have this table available?
Oh yeah, it's on
Yeah,
there
it's
for
up
you.
there in the red. See where
No, it's
it
up
is?
there in the blue.
It says blue.
Yeah,
It's
table
red.
value.
And then blue.
It's next to the red.
It's right there.
If you don't use the table, you'll go into.
Okay, come on, remember what I said now.
Next problem.
I'm gonna get mean. Don't make me mean. Okay, moving right along. I do have a yardstick, and she knows that. I brought it here before, right? Okay. All right, anyway. We're right here. 365 minus 115, you saw where we got that from. Now the next part, we come up with 250. We calculated this, it's 250. Now we have to go to the date, the maturity date, when the loan is due. You will go back to the table and do the same thing. You go under the number column, the first column, and find 28. And then go to the right until you find what? March, where they intersect. You're going to get 87. Now notice, you have to pay close attention. Notice, you subtract the first number, the date of borrowing, and the next one you do what?
You have to add
You add it.
This is not as bad as it sounds. Once you do it a few times, it's really not that bad. It just takes a few minutes, okay? So if you're getting this in your notes and you understand it, then you're okay. We finally arrive at 337. We are there. So you plug it in, and then you just calculate the problem. Now remember what we said on your calculator. You type in or punch in 23,000 times 0.075 times 337, and then the division. You don't have to use fraction or anything, right? Just division. 360. Just like it goes, straight across. From here, and the last thing you should put in is 360. Okay? If you ever want to test these out, like while we're doing this, like to verify that your answer is right, that's not a bad way to learn it. You know what I'm saying? Like while you're in here, just punching in what's up here.
But if it's in parentheses, you do that part first.
Yeah, when we get there, I'll cross that bridge.
Please excuse my dear Nancy.
Look at that, for those problems.
Yes.
Okay, also, they also want the maturity value. Actually, that's all they want. But why do we get the interest? Because we need the interest
To be able to get the
to be
maturity.
able to do the maturity value.
Yeah.
So, principal plus interest. Principal's right here, bring it down. Interest is here, bring it down. And then here's your answer. Any questions? No date questions, anything?
Make sure you read the
Always have
red.
to find the interest
Read the
first
red.
and ask for maturity value.
Yes.
Now, one more thing to keep in mind, the back of your mind. We're going to come to some problems where this little setup here is going to change slightly. What I'm saying is, if we don't cross years, this one goes from 2010 all the way into the next year, 2011. If it's less than a year, the term of the loan is in the same year, then this is going to change. You're not going to do it the same exact way. Just remember that whenever we get there, okay? There's going to be one little change.
Are we gonna have multiple
Just
years?
think-
Let me wait till I get there. Yeah. Question?
So here we're gonna have multiple years, or no? Just the one?
No. It's usually less than 2 years. Less than a year, between 1 and 2 years. Okay, move right along. All right, so this one, okay, I suppose I'll leave it this at 150% here, and I'll have to scroll down because not all this is showing. Some of it's cut off. All right, take a look at the problem. Now notice the first thing you see is a date. All right, what does that tell you?
You're gonna
And here's the other date. So
doing the same thing you did.
we are doing the same exact thing as what we did in the previous problem. We're doing the same thing here, but the explanation is done the same way. It's almost the same answer, isn't it? What was it, 333? So it's a similar problem, but as you can see, they ask you for different things here. Now it says the difference, we'll get to that in a second, and the amount. You will notice in these quizzes, as we go through the weeks, sometimes they use different words that mean the same thing. In other words, the amount is probably the principal, you know, or just for example. And I will, when I get to that point, I will tell you exactly what they mean. Okay? So on April 24th, 2010, we have Janine. Now they use the language. To me, this sounds a little bit unprofessional, but she took out,
She borrowed.
she borrowed. 8.8% is the rate, okay? So if you look at the bottom, look down here, this part of the explanation, you see the 0.088, there's R. And how much did she borrow? 29.5 is her principal. Now the loan is due on March 28, 2011. That goes into the next year. We just went through this. Do you have any question on how to do that? Do you see the table link? Right there. In blue or purple, violet, magenta, something. Periwinkle. Like your shirt or
Like
something.
your shirt.
This is not periwinkle, this is purple.
Let's roll.
Anyway. Okay, so it says, what is Sabrina's difference in interest? We have to look at the last sentence here, though, which I forgot to mention. Sabrina took out the same loan as Janine. Now, these are two different people, so you have to follow the problem carefully. Don't use the wrong person, in other words, when you're doing your calculations. Sabrina took out the same loan as Janine, but however, Sabrina's terms are exact interest. So what they're basically asking you for, the difference is, what is the difference between exact interest and ordinary interest with the same loan terms, the same principal, the same rate, and the same
You
time?
just used 338 over 360 for ordinary and 338 over 365
Exactly.
for
So let me
exact.
scroll down a bit so you can see that. Take a look. What's happening? You do two things. Here's ordinary interest. Here's exact interest. Now you notice everything is the same for both of them except for what? This number. That's it. Now once you get these two numbers, what do you do with these two? It's right here. Subtract them. There's your difference. Now which one always results in a higher interest amount?
The ordinary.
The ordinary. Good.
Still think that's weird.
Huh?
Still think that's weird.
Well, life is weird.
Touche.
Now that is your first answer. Go ahead and plug it in. Now the maturity value, this is the simple part. We're done with the hard part, right? All we do is add the interest, but notice they call it the amount. In your notes for problem number, is this 3?
4.
4. Problem number 4, right here, remember, this means maturity value. You see what I mean, how they use different wording?
So you would have to use the exact interest for that? Or would you?
Oh, I was getting to that. Up here at the top of the problem, notice it says, what will she pay? Now, she is referring to who? Sabrina. Make sure you don't use Janine. It's Sabrina. So if it's Sabrina, we're going to use what?
29.5.
Exact interest to figure out.
Yeah.
We're using Sabrina's numbers, basically. Okay? So, look down at the bottom. And you have what? The principal, which is the same for both women. And then you have Sabrina's interest. The one that uses exact interest, Sabrina. It's right here. We already calculated. See? We just bring it down. You already have both these numbers. You just need to make sure you get the right ones when you do it. So the answer for the second part, 31,903, 997. So a lot of these problems, they're simple, but some of them have many steps. And trust me, that's nothing. You haven't seen anything yet. They get longer.
How many problems is this one?
15.
15.
12.
Oh, 12. Okay.
Well said.
Good. I forgot to hit record. That's how I get a copy from him.
we have plenty of time.
So I can see what I'm
Gotta
writing.
go back and forth.
Yes. See, I'm farsighted. No, nearsighted.
So, it's asking for two things there, the difference between the two loans and also, Sabrina's maturity value.
Yes,
Okay.
correct. Sabrina, not the other woman. What's her name?
Janine.
Well, didn't it start out with Sabrina?
Well, you have to use Janine and Sabrina to get the first one, the first answer, the difference. They want the difference between their two loans, their interest. Ready? Okay, also read.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
They're not freebies. That was just a joke because you don't really get any points. They're just disqualified.
Same thing.
And that was the rule of 78 problems, one that I did go over a little bit over last time. It was you had two of them, and I just bounced them. So. Okay, so take a look at what we're trying to find. Sometimes this helps people, sometimes it doesn't. But if you look in the gray boxes first, and you know what you're looking for before you read the problem, that might be better. It depends upon the student. Okay, they want the interest and maturity value. That's pretty straightforward. There's no hidden language there. There's no changing of the wording. So we have Leslie, who's borrowing. There's the key word. 15,500. 15,500. That is your principal.
Principal.
To pay for a child's education. You see, isn't it the same community college?
Yep.
Familiar with
Yep.
those? Okay. It's just different numbers, the same situation. So, Leslie must repay the loan at the end of 18 months. Months. What do you notice? Time. 18 over 12. What could you also use there? What
Division.
number?
1.5.
1.5. Good. If you turn this fraction into a mixed number, you're going to get 1.5. And then you can turn 1.5 into 1.5. What would you use to make it easier?
1.5.
Now for your problem, you'll have different numbers here, but it's the same concept. You should still be able to do it. Unless you get some kind of odd number, it depends. You might all get the same number, it depends. Okay, moving on. The interest rate. The rate, you can see the percent sign, so R, 3.75%. How do I know that? Because 3/4 is equivalent to 0.75. And we just add the 3. So 3.75, and then you take the decimal and move it
0.03.
2 places to the left. Notice it's right here. Okay, we have the interest once we calculate it. Here's your first answer. The second answer is very simple. Maturity value. Plug in the interest here. Bring down your principal. Add them, and you're done. Any questions? Okay, so we're almost halfway done?
Okay.
Or we are halfway done? More than halfway done.
Hey Patrick, real quick. With how it says 18 months, could we do that with all the months? Like if it's 6 months, could we just put 0.5 on that?
0.05.
Okay.
Yes. Now, if you get 7 months, which you won't see, you probably won't
I
see.
hope not.
That would be 7 over 12.
Yeah,
And you
that's
divide
not-
7. You don't
Yeah,
try.
no.
I talked about this last time.
yeah,
You'll get a remainder.
yeah.
So you don't want to mess around with the decimals. You might get the wrong answer.
Okay.
If it's
If it's simple,
it has no remainder.
yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay, ready.
Yeah. I know, it's like last Monday at 4 o'clock, it was like, nobody talked.
Okay. Not sure which is worse, too much quiet or too much noise. Somewhere in the middle. All right, so you notice the date starting off first. You should also notice that they're asking for interest and maturity value. Now, the language is very simple there, just like the last problem. So you're going to use the interest formula and the maturity value formula. That's
It's not
simple.
giving years.
We'll get there.
From month to month, that's it.
Oh, right, that's right.
There's no year.
It's less than a year.
So that one makes sense.
Yeah, which is going to be a little bit easier. Okay? I said this earlier. I said keep it in the back of your mind. Notice the year's not there. So she borrows on September 14th, Jody, from Sunshine Bank, and she borrowed how much? $4,200. That is your principal. 8% is your rate. Now, she plans to repay the loan on January 15th, and it's with ordinary interest, so that automatically know we use 360 days. Now, we have to find out how many days in between September 14th and January 15th.
Okay, well,
Okay? So, what I want you to notice here, let's see, have they done it a different way? I thought I could have sworn it was different in some way. Maybe not.
It looks the same
It starts
way.
out, it looks the same. Maybe I was
It
wrong.
looks the same way.
365. Now, where do we get the 257 from? If you open up the table,
Table, yeah.
you will go to what? On the first column, and go down to
14
14.
and over to January.
and then go over to
September.
December 31st.
September.
January
14.
to January.
Okay, the first number is the date of the loan.
Oh yeah.
We want to know how many days between January 1 and September 14th. So 14 in the number column, and then over to which month?
September.
September, thank you. There it is. Anyway. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I
No,
thought it
but do you
was
see
from
that?
September to January.
It
Why are we
is.
looking for September? not
Because
January?
that's the start date. We have to use both of them.
They
It goes
showing
from
how to use
September
it.
to January. Oh.
Yeah.
Right. So, there it is. And we do subtraction. We do subtraction. What'd you use last time in your notes?
They added.
Take a look at it. Go back to your
We
notes.
subtracted.
You did subtract? Okay, I thought
And
there
then-
was something
I
different.
said,
No,
it looked
we
the same.
added.
No,
They subtracted.
you
Go
added.
back in your notes.
It's right here.
Or you could just go back
First
to that
step. The
problem.
first step we subtracted.
Yeah, and
Thirty
then
Why am I getting different answers for everybody?
367 minus 115.
We have
used
365 minus 114.
Okay, somebody told me, I heard some people say ah. All right. So use subtraction.
Right.
Do you see why you use subtraction?
Yes.
Because you're trying to find how many days in between January 1st and September 14th. There's 365 days in total in a year. So in between January 1st and September 14th, there's 257 days. We subtract that from 365. This is how many days so far, right?
so then you go to 108 and then over to January for that next step on the
Yes. The next step is January 15th. What do we add to the 108?
15. Just go back to the problem that happened.
Now, be careful though. This one is the same here. You know, it might just be a coincidence, but January is the first month of the year.
table. Yeah, so you automatically.
Okay, so keep in mind, always go to the table to make sure.
Mhm.
Okay, open up your table. Do the
Doubt.
same thing. All right, so it's really very simple. Okay. Anyway, we get 123 over 360. Now we're done. All we just do is calculate it. All we do is calculate it. There's the interest, and then plug it in at the bottom and add it to what?
4,200.
Notice this is backwards here, okay? Don't get confused by it. It's just that they have the interest plus the principal. Why? I don't know. You could also do it the other way. Principal plus interest, either way. Isn't that a mathematical property that you learned back in some class? What is it called?
Well, the interest is what the bank is making money on. Maybe that's why they want to set it up that way.
No, but there's a property in math that you learn that says whenever you're doing addition, It doesn't matter what order you add the numbers, in which order you add them.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
And the same thing goes with multiplication. If you have 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers, you can multiply them. Distributive property?
No.
Commutative.
Property.
Commutative. I believe that's the one. Okay, good. Thank you. All right, any questions so far?
I have a question.
Okay.
Why is it that it's not 360 days if it's ordinary interest?
It is 360.
Yeah, we saw that.
Right.
The table up there.
365, that's what it's representing.
That's a good question. I'll have the answer next time.
Because there was another question, just the same way.
I don't know. I'll tell you next time. I'll look into it.
Because of the table.
Okay. I will look into it. I mean, I see why it's confusing. What did I say about the side conversations? I've mentioned it how many times? I'll tell people to leave. I won't tell you to go. Okay? So back to what I was saying. Back to your question. I will have the answer for you next time. That's the first time in 2 years of being here that someone has asked that question. And I've never even thought of it until today. Okay? So let me look into it. I don't want to tell you something that's just half correct, which something can't even be half correct. That's incorrect to say that, right?
Well, it's a little confusing at first.
I see, but what are you going to use in your problem?
The table.
You're going to use, well, which number? When you're doing this part for the dates?
360.
365. Let me look
For the
into it,
date,
okay?
yeah. But for that right there, the bonus numbers.
Because I do work on myself too. All right.
Oh.
There we go.
Your test is going to be exactly like this. You know that already.
You do the 360 and the ordinary.
You're gonna get it wrong.
We're gonna get it wrong.
I will have an answer for you. Okay, something. This problem, it looks a little bit longer because there is a C part here. This interest saved can also be thought of as the difference. Keep that in mind. Okay. On September 25th, we have Jody, who goes to Sunshine Bank. Did we go there before? Yeah, we did. To borrow this time $3,600. Okay, borrow $3,600. You can't see it down here, but we've done a few of these problems already. We've done several. You know that's the what? The principal. At 8%, that is the
Interest.
Rate.
say rate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't say interest. I mean, it is the interest rate.
Yeah.
Okay. Jody plans to repay the loan on January 11th. Now notice, that is within the same year. Look down at the bottom. Do you see again the method you use? You subtract first,
And then you
the
just
second
add the
sum.
11.
So you subtract for the date the loan started, the date of borrowing, and you add for the maturity date. I could have sworn I saw something different there when I was looking at it, but maybe it was late.
It can't be the same year.
Huh?
It can't be the same year, because you get it on September, it just doesn't tell you. And
Oh,
it
it's
it
yeah, you're
says-
right. You have a good point. Okay, thank you. So, so it's not necessary for them to show the year. Bottom line. Now Kelly, the second person in our problem, meets Jody at Sunshine Bank. I guess they know each other, and suggests that she consider the loan on exact interest. So what are we looking for here? The difference between the interest using exact interest, 365, and using
Ordinary.
ordinary, 360. Didn't we just do something like this earlier? Yes, but they called it what? The difference, remember?
Yeah.
So we're comparing how much, we're looking to see how much she's going to save. What, a whole $1.18, is that right? It's not
Between
very much.
exact
Yeah,
and ordinary?
Huh?
It's between exact and ordinary?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Right. So if you use exact interest, you're going to save $1.18, $1.18. Is the bank going to use exact interest? Probably not.
and that's 365,
Exact is 365.
okay.
Try to get that straight in your mind. So think about it like this. I mean, this is the way I would do it. Right? You can do whatever you want. But there are exactly 365 days in a year. Look at the association. You can learn by, or whatever that's called. Exact, 365. So if I remember that sentence in my mind, I won't get confused. There's only one other choice for ordinary, and that's 360. So we know the other one. That's the way I would do it. So. Okay. First question, what interest will Jody owe on January 11th? Now it says use 365, so we're using exact interest here. The bottom number is going to be 365. Let me pull this down for you. Get some of that written. On January 11th. Now down here at the bottom, what you have to do for part A is you have to get how many days, right? 108? Well, part A and part B for the whole problem. 108 over 365, which is exact interest. Okay, I'm looking at what they did here. Notice, make sure you notice. Here's the interest formula. Principal times rate times time equals interest. There's your answer. Now, what do they do? In this case, they just continue on and add what?
They add the
principal. And that gives you
the total.
Maturity value.
The maturity value.
The maturity value. See? Don't be confused. They did it in one line instead of two. Normally you'd see it like broken down in 2 lines.
And you say it added the what? You got the principal, the rate, the time, equals interest.
Interest plus the principal.
Plus that's the principal?
Gives you the maturity value. They just put it on one line instead of 2. It's only week 4.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
So sometimes it will show things a little differently, but I always point it out. And if I don't point it out, then you can point it out and we'll point it out together. But usually I will notice that. Okay, so now we have 2 answers so far. We need 1 more. How do we get the last answer? What do you notice?
Just substitute 360 for 365.
That's right. Now, do they show you that up here? Do they show you that step?
No.
They don't.
You just plug in.
Yeah,
But you know that.
Yeah, just plug it in and then subtract it.
They don't show you here. All you do is substitute 360 for 365, and then you're going to get what for your answer? You're going to get this.
Yes.
Yes. And then you subtract from it, you subtract exact interest from ordinary interest, 360 right here, and that gives you that very small difference.
So you just set the problem the same like the one of
The same exact way.
just change the 365 to
You put this
360.
360. Yes.
And then they just went ahead
And you go ahead and figure out, you go all the way through, just like you did. So you will find in these quizzes, they will show you sometimes a very detailed explanation, and then sometimes they will leave out certain steps. I don't know why, okay? I didn't write them. I don't know if you agree or disagree. Should they do it the same way every time? Does that make sense? Or
I don't
they
think
got
so.
lazy on some of these?
I don't think so because you're going to encounter each problem differently. So you're going to have to try
If
to.
I wrote it, I would put the same,
Well, yeah.
same format every time.
Well, yeah,
Instead
but
of
you're going to have to
confusing.
gather the information
It just makes it easy.
ways.
So take a look and see if you have any questions. We have a couple more.
Are you busy? That's all.
Yes, we're on number 10 now. 10. I mean, look down here. They give you the P, the R, and the T. They didn't do the other problem. That's what I mean. I would just, if it were me, if I were writing it,
You really think and really think.
maybe they did it on purpose to make you think. I don't know.
That's what word problems are. You just really.
Well, what I'm talking about is the
Sometimes they say
explanation.
borrow, sometimes they say loan.
Right, up here too. That can
Well,
vary
they're-
too.
that they're making you think down there too. They're making
Maybe
you
that's the
really
reason.
work for
I
it.
never thought about that.
They're making you really work for it and see their errors. because
See if
your
you
brain
can-
is still.
Maybe that's the reason.
It's
I know the author. I know the author, so maybe I should ask them.
Or maybe they're just
Him or her.
maybe they just work the crap out of
It's
it.
just a loan. No, there is no.
Well, let's move on.
It's a loan.
Okay. Notice we start off with a date here, and also notice the only thing you have to find is the maturity value of the loan. That's all they want. To get to that maturity value, you have to find the interest first. So we got to find the interest first. So we have on May 6th, Levin Corporation, who borrowed. Now look at the language. It says negotiated a short-term loan. They borrowed. Okay? Write that in your notes if you want. $696,000.
It's a huge loan.
Okay, there's a big number for us. So now it has to be paid by October 24th, 2010. Okay, so think about that. And it carries a 6.97% interest rate. There's a percent sign. That is your rate. It says use ordinary interest. So we're going to use 360 days. Now everything that I've pointed out so far is down here, except for what?
The time.
The number of days. So again, you go to the table. You know how to do this, right?
Yes.
May 6th, the date of the loan, go to the table, number column, go down to 6, number 6, go over to the right where it intersects with May. Subtract that number. What did they do here to us? Did they do something different?
Yes, they did.
They didn't
That's
add.
what
Last time
Oh,
they added.
no, I see what happened. This is what I was talking about earlier. Did I notice something different? It's this problem.
Okay. that's what
Pay
I-
close attention, I see what's happening. They knocked out a step here for you. They knocked out a step. That's all. It kind of made it easier in a way.
They just didn't make you
It's easier.
They didn't make you find the days, the number of days for the due date. They calculated it, or they went to the table and got it and put it in for you. See what I'm saying? So all you have to do on this problem, if you're copying it just this way, you can do it just like this. And there's no need to add anything afterwards. All you do is take the day of October 24th. So you're going to have to go to your table anyway, right?
I think so.
Yeah, you are.
Can you go to it so we
We'll
can
see how, and if you have any questions about it when you come back, we'll go over it. I wish they just left it the other format, but anyway. That's what I noticed earlier. That's what I kept saying. So, anyway, the bottom line is you come out with 171 days. In between those 2 days. Should I show you another way?
Please don't.
I don't think we have the time, but there's a way on the board that I show every semester, and it's, some people find it easier.
No.
Let's keep it this way.
Let me see. I'll try to get it out. Okay, so right here, all you do is calculate and you get the interest. And then what are they doing? They're adding the interest to the principal. This is not multiplication.
It's addition.
It's addition.
Jeez.
Oh, goodness.
Well, I guess in that case, I'd want it to be consistent with how they're writing.
They
these
just tried to throw us off there.
Maybe that's on purpose. I don't know.
So maybe.
Okay. Are you ready for another one? Doesn't matter if you're ready or not.
Do we have a choice?
Just being nice. We have 2 more. Just enough time.
How come it says adjust credit? Is that because if you
You
don't
don't
get
see
every
that on
step?
yours.
Okay. I'm like, what?
If I click that little button, it'll allow me to disqualify the question or to give everybody credit,
okay.
like points for it.
Okay.
And I'll disqualify it, and you'll never.
I was just making sure.
Yeah, no, you won't see that. Are we ready?
Yes. No. Yes.
Okay, a nice easy one for you. And they're asking me to find time. So what do you do with the formula? We did it over here. We had one like this earlier, didn't we? Yeah. Quiz when they asked you to solve for time. And very simple. Gordon went to his bank and to find out how long time it will take for $2,100 to amount to $2,640 at 7.9% simple interest. So it's pretty much, isn't it the same guy in the last problem? I think it is.
I
It
don't
might
know.
be. Okay, so what you're gonna have to do here, he wants to know how much interest, or actually, I'm sorry, how long it will take for him to earn the interest. Now, we have to find the interest. They don't give it to us in the problem. They don't give us the interest amount. I didn't say rate, amount. So, how do we get this number 540? You subtract 2640 minus 2100. Just like in your other problem. 540. 7.9%. There's your R, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the 2100, of course, is the principal.
So that equals
3.3 years.
Question?
well, so the bottom
This equals 165.90. It takes 3.3 years, yes, under these terms.
Yeah, if you can find seven.
Yeah, 3% now. You're lucky on the CD.
You're lucky if you get that much.
Right?
They wait till you
That
die and they pay this. Oh, she did, so we can-
Oh my.
So did you divide the 540 by the 165 to get 3.3 years?
Yes.
Okay, so I thought, yeah. It just
Now-
threw me up because you got that dollar sign.
Now
right in front of
remember, what should you do first, just to be safe?
The bottom equation.
The bottom part, remember? Anytime you're solving a problem for a principal, rate, or time, you will do the bottom part. I could have sworn I'd given you more problems with principal and rate. I don't know what happened there.
Real quick, I just did the equation on my calculator, and they're actually rounded up, so I just know, yeah, it says round your answer to 1 decimal place. So on these, you're gonna have to actually round it up.
Yeah, so it comes out to 3.2
Yeah.
something.
I just
right?
want to make everybody aware.
Yeah,
That way they're not
pay attention to the
confused.
red always, this right here, because your answer is going to be 3.27 or something
Yeah,
like that.
it was like 3.25. So
You round up.
yeah, and you rounded up to 3.3.
To the first decimal place. Okay, there's one more. Ready? That's just for today, but there should be one more.
It says 12 of 15.
Maybe there is more than one more. We'll see. Okay. We're
Same
almost
thing
done.
again.
Huh.
So I need to hurry up, so please bear with me. We're solving for principal. So you're going to solve this for P now. Not T, but for P. You know how to do that. It's in your notes. Okay? We have Bill buying a Winnebago. His monthly interest is 13%. That is your rate. The rate. And it says the interest amount, I, is 143. I, 143. It says use 360 days, so we're going to use 360. And it says, this is based on 1 month. We're trying to find it based on 1 month. That's why we use 30. Make sure you write that in your notes, so remember.
Okay.
1 month. That's why we use 30 right here over 360. Now, this is where you have to be careful. You want to calculate the bottom part first, right? So imagine if this is in parentheses, even though they're not here, you know, this part.
It'll come out different.
What?
Wait. There was one way we did that and it came out wrong. We have to watch it on our calculator.
Done. I'm starting right now.
Yeah. Yeah, so 30 divided by 360, you'll do that first. Then take that answer and multiply it times 0.13.
That's not.
And then you have your final answer at the bottom. And then you divide into that 143,
Yes.
right?
You do the
So,
division
just
first
simple
and then the
math.
Yeah, yeah,
multiplication.
Okay, so why not 31 or
Because
because
April.
well I know it says April. But, I mean, so
That's
a different month we'd use. So
you
let's say
would, you
February.
would.
Yeah, based on the month.
It depends on the name of the month.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
That's right.
there's not gonna be a February.
I think everybody gets April.
What if it happens in leap year?
Come on. now. Only 1 month changes days of
Wow.
leap year. So right February.
Yes, my home.
And I
Okay.
think it would be specific if
And
it's
now
the
we
same
just
month.
found the principal.
Alright, I'm probably gonna run out of time. And that never happens. If anything, you usually get out early. Why?
Stay late,
Why
stay
else? I
late.
don't know.
You can stay till you're done.
But we're almost done. You've seen the format of the problems. You see how they're worked. The next couple of problems are the same way. Alright? I'm not going to keep you past time. We got 1 more minute to go. We have 1 more minute to go. So go ahead and take a look at this. I'm going to shut up. If you want to take notes on this quickly. And then in a few minutes, I'm going to switch. If anybody wants to stay a couple more minutes, you can. If not, you
According
can.
to the bar down there, it says 4 minutes.
We got about 5 minutes left.
Who cares?
Did someone turn that clock ahead? We do have 4 more minutes.
I've got 5:11. Yeah.
Okay, that's fast. 5.
Some teacher wants to get out of his class.
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Okay, so take a look at what's going on though. It is the same thing. Look at the problem. Look at the layout. If I can go through it again, but it's just the same stuff over and over. So you might want to be just writing this down. If you have questions after class, you can always ask me if you're running short on times. Is there still 1 or 2 more? You should have a total of 12. I think 15 is qualified.
You skipped 2. So this is the last one.
This is the last one.
Yes.
Well, if we skip 2, but it goes up to 15.
What else
We only
debate
skip
about?
5
I
and
don't
6.
know, man, I think.
We skip 5 and 6. I think there's still 2 more.
There's
There
2
might be
more.
1 more. We'll see.
Yeah, we said there's more, because we're on 13.
Let me know when you're done copying this
14,
down.
So we skipped
Good.
1.
We skipped 2.
Hi.
We skipped
2.
5 and
We're going
6.
2.
Yeah, but it's only one question for you.
Yeah, it was a total of 15. So I think that's. We'll find out.
You're so cute. You know that you are.
We're gonna find
I'm
out right now.
surprised to go out with Becky something. Squeaky. Her shirt is squeaky, just like you.
Do you want the video?
Nice.
I'm trying to wait for everybody.
I don't know what her name was. Becky Conesworth. That's what it was.
Like I said, once it gets 5 and 15, you'll know that 20 minutes you won't know.
Yeah.
He's gonna post this on YouTube. You want me to send you the link?
No.
Okay.
My computer's not even working right now. I'm doing a lot of it at work.
Wait, really?
Stay after I get off work and do it to you. So
Okay,
I
if
can
you need to
figure
get
this
anything,
one's messed
yeah,
up.
we finished it. Here's what, let's see, I think that's the last one. Yeah, here's the last one. If you need me to go back, if you want to wait for a few more minutes, I can do that.
Oh.
After this one's done.
Oh my, that's a long one.
So, your choice. You can leave now, you can finish copying your notes off of the bottom.
Thank you.
Explanation if
Thank you
want
so
to.
much.
That's fine. And I'll go back to 13 after this one's done.
What does it say at the top? Where are you finding the amount for?
Amount, okay, right here, that's maturity value.
It's the maturity value.
Yep.
Amount means maturity value.
Yeah, I wasn't sure which interest you were using, but I see.
You got it? Okay. It's no different from the other problems, the same way.
Oh,
same thing.
okay, yeah. No,
You can see the format.
Is this the last one?
Exact.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Could you go back to 1, 2, and 3?
yeah.
Just so I can just get on here. I forgot. It's 1, 2, 3,
I'll do
4.
13 first.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
We'll be here in a few more minutes. So I'll see you guys if you're leaving, see you. Now come back to this room first, and let me see what decision I get. I'm gonna ask if we can switch. I'm not gonna promise you, it's like 50-50% chance. But just come back here, okay? I'll see.
Well, just make sure that they know the lighting and chairs are inadequate in this room for my sleeping needs.
Oh, yeah, they'll probably be like, oh, I'm really concerned about that.
Yeah,
Just
I'm
blow it
sure,
out,
right?
Yeah.
Close this down. Peter, close your computer down.
I'm gonna wait through the thing.
Hey, too. I feel like I'm on speed when I get out of this.
You might feel like you're on speed.
They're making him crazy.
You work up there on Mondays?
Yep, Monday
See how I
afternoons.
do Saturday. If not, I'll be between Secret
Yeah,
Monday.
if you guys have any problems over the weekend, just come in Monday before class.
What time are you up there on Mondays?
I'm here from noon till 4 in
Okay,
that
good.
lab. Excuse me.
Oh, it's so noisy up there.
Here, can you slide that on here?
I'm so sorry.
Slide it on this, would you?
Noisy, crazy.
What?
In the lab?
It's hot.
Mm.
You don't have to look up.
I never noticed that.